Of course, it's from the Science of Mind Daily Guides. And this one, of course, is for June 2024. And it's by Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, henceforth Reverend Raymond. The other day, he spoke about prophetic boldness, part 1. And then he gave us a break. And now he's talking about prophetic boldness, part 2. Just a quick word to the wise up front. If you can kind of put this reading outside of the context of politics, because politics is so volatile, it will probably be a good thing. So just take it as it is and use it as you wish. But at least at the end of the day, do something, even if that something is to pray about these things or to donate to worthy causes. Well, you'll see what I mean as we read it. As I said, it's called Prophetic Boldness, Part 2. The first quote is actually from the Gospel of Mark, and it's chapter 16, verse 15. He said to them, "Go out into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation." This has been taken in many, many, many different ways. Some people take it as meaning to convert the whole world to Christianity. Others have taken it to mean go tell people that God's love is available to all. So let's see what Reverend Raymond has to say about it, and then you'll get my comments on it afterwards. The first quote from Ernest Holmes is it's pretty on point, not just in this realm, but in lots of realms. He says, one of the greatest difficulties in the new order of thought is that we're likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. And that's from the Science of Mind textbook, page 51, paragraph 1. And Reverend Raymond carries on saying, prophetic boldness demands that we walk the walk. Read both of the above quotes again, but with the awareness that the word gospel has but one definition, a thing that is absolutely true. I'll come back to this. So he tells us to read it again. Let's read it again. He said to them, go out into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. And one of the greatest difficulties in the new order of thought is that we're likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. He goes on to say, the meaning of preach is to proclaim. And to proclaim is to assert, to maintain, and to demonstrate. With this in mind, we see both of these quotes for what they are, a call to action. Then he asks us, can you envision a world where everyone has nutritious food, clean water, clean air, safe neighborhoods, and safe, affordable housing? Where universal care is provided and ensures holistic medical care for those in need, including mental health support and gender-affirming care. Where capitalism is not used as a weapon or as chains to bind a certain class of people, while another class reaps the financial benefits. Can you imagine technology, manufacturing, and other forms of business all working in harmony with all of nature? Is this not a fraction of what it means to live in a world that works for everyone? Some would label such statements as political. Prophetic boldness, however, demands that we understand this as a foundational, system-wide change that supports both human rights and environmental rights. Prophetic boldness cannot compartmentalize politics as separate from whatever supports our ability to live in collective harmony on the earth. Prophetic boldness does not choose one thing or person over another, based solely on political party affiliations. Prophetic boldness chooses the oneness of life because the nature of the universe is equity, harmony, justice. It encompasses loving care and support. So what do you think? Now, depending where you lie on the political spectrum, you must, well, most likely you have different views about this. But the bottom line is to ask ourselves this question: do we want to live in harmony with everybody on the planet or not? What would it look like if we all lived in harmony? If nations and groups of people were not going to war about political boundaries, about national rights, about religious rights, and so on and so forth. Personally, I would like to live in a world where people get along, where there is harmony. Competition, yes, but healthy competition. I assure you, I'm not bored with this. For instance, we talked about before that the best athletes compete with themselves. You know, one of the best athletes of the past 12 months, there were several of them in women's basketball. And the one who's been given the most press is Caitlin Clark because of all the records she broke. However, she wasn't picked for the US women's basketball team for the Olympics in Paris. And a lot of people would have got upset, saying, you know, the egocentric ones would have said, hey, what about me? I did all this stuff. I brought all this attention to women's basketball. I'm good. I've just scored 30 points in the last game I played in. Why don't you pick me? But no, she didn't. You know, she was positive about it and she's going to learn from it. And I guess the other thing is my wife commented, well, she's had a really rough season, as have, you know, Angel and some of the others. I'm sure she would really enjoy the break and the rest. Yeah, the Olympic glory is fine, but she's young and she has plenty of time to come along. And it's not like Olympic swimmers, although even some of those carry on for a long time nowadays. So I'm just pointing out to you, she had a good attitude about it, as I'm sure did some of the other stars of last year's, you know, college basketball. But going back to this question, you know, as I said before, I grew up with universal healthcare. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. But it means that people are not going to get turned away for treatment. It means that you don't have to scrounge around for it. You know, my humble opinion is that the US medical system as a whole has got too much business into it and less care into it. And I'm not saying that there aren't hundreds of thousands of caring doctors and nurses and support staff. There are, but it's become incredibly expensive to get anything done. And you can look in other countries, and we've argued that their healthcare is substandard, but in a lot of cases, it's not. And it's a fraction of the price here. So we could do it. We just have to change our way of thinking. Affordable housing. You know, there's a big argument going on now about clearing up homeless people from the streets. A lot of these homeless people did not choose to be homeless. You know, some of them may have, some of them may just not have wanted to do anything, but there's a lot of them out there homeless. They didn't choose to be homeless, and they're being kicked and moved around, in some places arrested and thrown in jail. I don't think that's fair either. So I am putting my thoughts where I think they belong. And I could go on about all the other different parts. Just going back when Reverend Ramon says, read both of the above quotes again, but with the awareness that the word gospel is but one definition, a thing that is absolutely true. Well, actually, the word gospel comes from two Anglo-Saxon words, God, which means good, and spell, which means news. It's the good news. And depending on your view of Scripture, you maybe have no view on Scripture, but depending on your view of Scripture, you can argue what it is that is the good news. The good news is that we are loved and we are expressions of love, and that love is what the universe is all about, ultimately. From my own personal experience, I can tell you, I think that's true. I split the affirmation into two affirmations. My life is the activity of spirit. My life is the activity of spirit. I am the way the universe takes care of this planet and everything and everyone the planet sustains. I am the way the universe takes care of this planet and everything and everyone the planet sustains. Don't read into that it's totally your burden. No, it simply means that you were a part of the process in helping care for the planet. When you recycle, you're taking care of the planet. When you help your neighbors, you're taking care of the planet. When you advocate for better and more even treatment of people, you're helping the planet. That's really all I've got to say. So whether you're a religious person, a spiritual person, or none of these, you're a humanitarian, these are things with which you can agree. You may disagree with certain aspects of it, but I'm sure that we can all agree that in our own little ways, we can help make this world a better place to live in. So, Reverend Lisa will be on at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock-ish. I will be on tomorrow morning around about 5 o'clock. I don't think I have a class tomorrow at 5. However, what I just wanted to leave you with is this. Each of you is an incredibly important part of the human race, an incredibly important part of the world. So please take care of yourselves. And yes, I call you to help others, but I also call upon you and me to take care of ourselves first so that we can take care of others. So until next time, namaste.